What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the show. Today we have a special MMA Vice edition because I'm joined by my man, my brother from another mother, the Barbarian, Conan Silveira. What's going on, man?
I here working hard, going for another victory, looking for another win. That's the way we do.
So we're here at American Top Team. He is the man at American Top Team. And for those of you who do not know, we're going to get into his past, his history, because he is one of the true pioneers of MMA. I mean, we could talk pioneers of MMA, but he was doing this way before even I was doing this. So
that means I'm old.
Yeah, that means he's old. But so like, you're from the first generation of like the Carlson Gracie fighters to come to the United States and represent.
Definitely, it was the first one to come to the States, to really bring his name and the flag and open a school year and represent him. That was in the 80s, the end of the 80s. So yes, was the first one.
So how did that come about? Like, you obviously, you're from Rio de Janeiro, and you guys were obviously fighting, Vale Tudo back then.
Right.
And what was it like to come here, and how did it happen? Like, what was the, did they just pick your name out of a hat, or how did that happen?
Actually, it was a mix of dreams coming true. And the way I say, I was always, since I was a kid, I was thinking about coming to the United States. That was my dream. Everything that I thought about it, everything that, any toy I had it, has to do with American, has to do, from here. And when I had the chance to come over, of course I didn't plan anything, when somebody say, oh, I want to do this, of course, but I always had in my mind, and eventually, if I have the chance, I'll definitely want to go for it. And that's happened, I came to stay here, live here, when I packed my stuff from Brazil, and I was in Brazil, I knew that I was never going to come back to Brazil. That was my bye, and I was never going to go back. The United States was my home, without me thinking that it was. So getting here was, like I think anybody, any immigrant that comes here, I didn't have any papers, I didn't have any place I didn't know anybody. I was like I worked from dishwasher to pool construction to bus boy, waiter, and all those jobs that people do when they don't know the language. I didn't know anything about it, still don't. So I'm learning every day. But it was, in the fighting, I always was there. I was trained with my brother in some match from somebody in some school, wrestling school, and building little by little to the time that I was able to have the school open, not work in another place, because it was a time then I was teaching jiu-jitsu and working as a bouncer in a club and work in the morning in the construction. So when I had the chance to fight in the extreme fighting, that's when it opened the doors for me. It was, I exposed myself, as a black belt, a fighter, and from there was just, we're here.
Now, I remember that. I remember watching that. It was like the tournament format. I remember you ran through, who was it, like Gary Owens?
Gary Myers.
Gary Myers, right?
Yeah,
and then,
that was my last fight that gave me the belt.
Yeah.
Actually, what the Battle Cage Extreme fight that I had in mind, the promoters, and actually the producers, was to make it an American champion, but it didn't work.
Well, because, the plans, huh?
Yeah, I think I ruined the plans, because the way they, you fight 3 fights in the same night, and I didn't have time to rest between fights. I'm not saying intentionally, but I was really prepared for that. I had my goals, and so any sacrifice will be easy, like we spoke about that before. So just that, I say, what, it's my chance, and I'm going to grab with everything I have. And from there was, everything was fine.
So I remember you telling me a story about fighting in Canada.
Right.
So, for those of you who don't know, like, back in the day, MMA was like the Wild Wild West, and it wasn't legalized in a lot of places.
It was a criminal act.
Yeah, it was a criminal act. So let's hear that story about going to Canada.
The second edition of Battle Cage Extreme Fighting was in, actually, I'm sorry, the first one was, oh no, actually it was the second one. I was defending my title. The plan was for them to do in New York. Back then, McCann was, inside, I believe he's still very, connected with boxing, or is a boxing fan, I don't know. But MMA was illegal, 100% illegal, especially in New York. In New York, matter of fact, it was one of the last states to legalize MMA, right? Mm-hmm. So when they find out that the Battle Cage was having a show in New York, McCain went on TV, national TV, and put a hit on us, say, I'm going to find you guys, I'm going to arrest you guys, and I'm going to prosecute you guys. In the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, the staff of Battle Cage was knocking everybody's door, getting everybody ready to leave. They leased a 747 plane, put everybody inside, and we flew to Canada. Because the way they sold the Canada idea was that if you find an Indian reservation, they have their own laws, so nobody can say anything. All right. So, yeah. So, of course, the Indians got the money. They got paid for that. I think it was back then it was $60,000-$70,000 to just allow us to use the arena and go pay-per-view. So we are in Canada after this whole running from McCann and crazy packing, and everybody's like, okay, everything's fine now. And that wasn't the week of the fight. As everybody knows, you cannot arrest anybody if you don't have any evidence. So pretty much the government wait to the fight to happen to come to arrest us in a hotel. And I was so happy, I finished my defending title in 1 minute and 50 seconds. I was fighting Carl Franks. Yeah. I TKO him, it was great. No one, I didn't have one scratch. I was so happy. If I'm not wrong, Half Grace defended his title too. So we all planning to celebrate together. So I am in the lobby, the hotel lobby, talking to some friends and, let's go eat and this and that. And I see at the corner of my eye a group of probably 30 police officers walking to the lobby.
You're thinking, I wonder what they're here for.
And that's exactly what's my question. Man, somebody beat somebody up so bad and they 30? That's a lot. So I see the guy then was leading the police officers going to the front desk and, asking. The guy comes to my direction, to me, with Igor Zanovia, the middleweight champion, picture, and asked me if I knew him. For a second, I'm like, I'm not gonna say that I know him because I don't know if he's in trouble or not. I say I have no idea who it is, and I'm thinking that he probably did something wrong. That's right, he's a MMA fighter. They have to have some more cops to arrest him. As this whole thinking going to this whole thought going to my mind, he comes back to me with my picture and says, "You don't know Igor, but you know Conan, right?" And I look him with a smile and say, "I guess so." And my question was,
get out of that.
As they searching for the people, they were sending police officers to the doors. So it was not even a question that I could leave because there was no place to leave. I was the first one in the lobby to get ready to go, celebrate. So he said, "Hey, I gotta arrest you because illegal prize fighting." And I heard that illegal prize fighting is less than a ticket. Mm-hmm. You don't go to jail because that. But it became a political issue. The government was showing to the Indian reservation they don't have any power. It's still Canadian laws everywhere. So it's not such a thing, you're Indian, you don't have to follow the law. So, make long story short, they arrested us. They took us to the jail on Friday. Of course, they treated us good because every single CO on the prison was watching the fight. They're all fans. I mean, nice breakfast. Of course, in prison it's not nice, but you know, the reason why we're there was not because a crime. It was just because a political, you know, issue. So they made us go into the court on Monday, you know, stand up. In Canada, the court is like with the wigs and the black, you know, like the old times.
Really? They had like no kidding.
Yes.
They wore those.
Yes, they wore that. And, yes, every single one. So the thing was, you know, let's show to the public that we have a power. About 75% the people inside the court was media. It's just us. So they will go one by one, standing up in front of the judges and the prosecutor and say, you know, I promise not fighting in Canada anymore. 6 months later, they dropped the charge.
So that was just a big waste of time.
I mean, just a big...
Just making a statement.
A big commotion, a big scene. They want to just prove something and, you know, that's it. But, you know, it's a story that happens in the MMA, you know.
Well, I got to get into another story because you were, besides that controversy, you were involved in another major controversy, probably one of the first UFC controversies in UFC Japan with Sakuraba.
Sakuraba,
Yeah.
Oh my God, my friend, he's my friend.
Yeah.
There was I will tell you, I'm not, as you know me for a long time, you know, and I'm not a fear guy. I don't have that feeling. At least, or probably I'll say I have a good relation with that. So I don't feel fear. I'm not scared about shit. But that in Japan was a time. That time was like, I don't speak the language. I don't understand shit what are they saying. I am in that home, and I felt that, you know what, they will take my life in a second if I'll say no. Pretty much, I fought Sakuraba in the first match. I won. If it was a mistake from John McCartney, it doesn't matter. You know, and it was visible that I was winning the fight. Mm-hmm. So he stopped the fight, and in that tournament, it was the first tournament, UFC tournament, then was two Japanese, Tank and myself. So Tank fought, I don't remember him.
Was that Android?
Angel, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember that. I remember that though.
And they beat each other so bad, they both could not come back. But they had a reserved guy. They have the replacement guy. But it was just one Japanese left on the whole tournament. They didn't have any more Japanese, not even on the single matches, were just American, Brazilians, you know, from different countries. So like having a card, having a show in Japan and not having a Japanese winning, that would be my God, that would be a disaster. That would be a national problem.
Yeah.
So, and I was with Sakuraba, so I won. Nobody from the first fight, that was Tank and Angel, that was his name, right? And so now I'm thinking then they're going to have the final fight, me and the guy then was waiting, the replacement guy. So they decided, I don't know how, and I still don't know how they made me come back again. But between that to happen, once I'm like all happy, you know, I'm in the finals, I don't know who I'm gonna fight. They knock in my dressing room and say, you gotta go back and fight Sakuraba again. I'm like, what do you mean? I just won. How am I gonna fight? Is it gonna be another time? No, in 20 minutes. I'm like, no, I'm not. When I say I'm not, and then we having a conversation, you know, I kind of look outside. And when you see the guys in the black suits, you know, like standing by my door, I'm like, doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I think that what I gotta say yes.
Like, wait a minute.
I say, I think then right in that second, I kind of, you know what? I don't care. I don't think there's more. Winning is not more important than me stay alive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No doubt.
Because I felt that I was going to have a retaliation. I felt that my life was in danger. And, you know, even my corner say, man, did you see the guys outside?
And that's just what you saw. You know there was like ninjas in the corner.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if somebody in my bedroom
was there was dudes checking
behind the walls, you know, when they hide. Anyway, so I'm like, you know what? I talked to Carson and I say, I'm gonna go back. You know what I mean? Because I feel that if I don't, we're gonna have a problem. And from there, I think then mentally I was not that anymore. I was just like, I want to go back to the hotel, and this is exactly what I did. After the fight, I lost. I say, okay, all right, well, you won, bye. See you later. And you know what? I'm leaving. I went to the hotel and I packed my stuff and I went to the airport.
Just like right away?
I mean, right away. I felt...
You had like
I felt probably, the only time in my life then I was not able to defend myself.
Yeah, I mean, what could you have done at that point?
Yeah, and people, when people, when they know about this, because he's part of the MMA history, a guy, the only MMA fighter, fight the same guy twice in the same night. I never heard anybody, or I may be wrong, maybe it happened, but I don't remember seeing anybody that fought twice the same guy just because. Anyway, so I was like desperate to leave Japan. It took me some time to go back over there because the bad taste in my mouth was just like it's just not fair, and like I think everybody knows. Fighting in another country, it is one option. Or you submit the guy, or you knock him out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Because you can't really...
You can't
win a decision, and you can't win a controversial fight.
There's not such a thing.
Yeah.
Always going to go to the other side.
Yeah, for sure.
Always.
So, now you're full-time coach, head coach of the American Top Team. What was the transition like going from being a fighter to a full-time coach? And what do you find more satisfaction in?
I will say that I'm blessed to be in this position because it's the title of a head coach, and it's just the fact that my passion kind of stretched from be fighter and coaching. As fighter, I was already coaching because remember I started not fighting, I started coaching. Teaching jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, right, for sure.
So I always had the ability to be able to explain and make people understand. I think then I use a lot of the old school mentality, the methodology, but I believe then I follow the evolution together because I have to think some of the things I think about MMA has to do with being old, but it's a lot of new things then we have to pay attention, and you have to open your eyes and say, okay, that doesn't work, let's change. But I do believe that today my vision and my opinion has to do with the mind of the fighter, what he really sees, the way he thinks. Because if you think right, I don't think that physically it's hard for anybody to get in shape. It's just about exercise.
Doing the work. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't have to think about it. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
The problem is when that comes in, you have to connect everything together in one point and bring the whole package, the fight. I do believe that fight is still to today, I believe is getting better, but not the number that I like to see it. They give a lot of attention to the physical part, to the technical part, and it's not wrong. But don't forget, when it gets to the 20 minutes, when it gets actually not the 20 minutes, when it gets to the week of the fight, your mind hits you hard on that. Because that's about thinking more close you are from the fight, more emotions, more questions, more pressure comes to you. And fighters, they kind of way, when you think then cutting weight is
no. Alright, somehow the video cut off and it didn't catch the end of that interview with Conan Silveira. I'm embarrassed, but I can't pull the wool over your eyes. I gotta own up to that mistake. Listen, I'm gonna catch up with him later though, because he is a true pioneer of the sport of mixed martial arts. He was in that first wave of Carlson Gracie fighters that came to the United States back in the early 90s. He's been there through it all, and he's still one of the top coaches in the game today. So I definitely need to catch up with him and let him tell his story and give his philosophies and insights on mixed martial arts. So I apologize, but I can't pull the wool over your eyes. I made a mistake. So I'm gonna catch up with y'all again next week. Hopefully I can catch up with him. If not, I'm gonna bring to you guys more fire. I'm spitting fire, and I'm gonna catch y'all again. Peace.